Welcome to All Aboard with Ned.
This is fucking great. Look at this.
Adam.
And the last thing I need is her to just walk out in the tower.
And LK.
You can configure to not use China. So what's the plan for the summer, boys? I mean, this fucking thing is like making me crazy. What's going on?
So I actually am having a big day about that today. Both my kids go to day camp. None of them are older enough to go to the classic Jewish. We send them out to the summer camp for overnights. So my daughter's camp is going to be open, but it's basically just like I'm paying full price for her to be in a room with like 9 other girls, maybe, and just coloring. My son's camp, though, they're like, we are going to be open, but we're going to have smaller bunks. So we may be overbooked and we may have to just somehow pick at random who makes it and who doesn't. So I have no idea if he's going to be there. And he's the one I'm not worried about. He's fine just playing video games, running around the backyard. We bought an above ground pool so I can be all white trashy and use it. But it's just like, I mean,
how old is your daughter?
So she's 5. And the only reason why I would even pay for her to go to camp still is just like, the socialization that they've been missing throughout all of this.
Right.
That to me is just so worth it for her.
Yeah.
This is so stupid, though. I mean, it must be the parents, because the kids, it's not very communicable, even with the kids, which is unusual, because I used to get sick. When my kids get sick, I always get sick.
Oh, yeah.
When they were that age.
And your kids are in college, right?
Mine?
Yeah.
No, mine are grown up. Mine are like 31 and 27.
So they are out of college. So what's your plans for? What do you do in summers? Like, do you
see them?
You come up to Maine, right?
Oh, yeah, we go to Maine. Yeah. Well, my dad's house, he rents it out. So we usually go in like September after he rents it. But they all canceled this year.
Yep.
So because they weren't sure what Maine was going to do. And as of right now, Maine, my daughter in Texas was furloughed. She's going to go back to work, but she was furloughed. So she and her boyfriend drove up and spent about a month in the house. And they just got back to Texas, actually. But she's like, there's nobody here except her friends. Remember, we lived there, too. So she went to high school up there. All her friends are there. But they have the weather was actually very nice. It was in the 60s and 70s, but there was no sitting allowed on the beach. So it's a beach house. So we're like 50 yards from the ocean. So 100 yards. But so she's like, we could fish, but I couldn't sit down.
That's crazy.
Walk, but we couldn't sit. I was like,
that makes no sense.
No,
it's crazy, but I guarantee you, once Maine makes their mind up about what they're doing, that house is going to go. Because I mean, I know so many people. I'm doing it. We're looking at my parents potentially are even looking at getting a beach house for a month where my siblings and I can just come in and out as we please if we feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
We're looking at it just going away for with my in-laws maybe as well. And it's just getting to a beach house, just getting a change of scenery for a week or something. If we're working remote anyways, what's the big deal?
I mean, the thing is, like, what pisses me off is the knee-jerk reaction of politicians. They do those, those rules or regulations without thinking on the long term or even the consequences. Oh, you can go to the beach, but you can't see it. So
I don't want to go Channel Zero, but I think this is all planned. I think it's all
Yeah.
It's like they just knew this is what we're going to do. We're going to shut it down. That Trump did the wild card by making the states do it, and you had to pick. There's no real federal mandates because he's letting the states handle it. But then it became political instantly when you had the red states and the blue states, all lining up. So that a red state in a very small populated state, or a blue state like Maine, she's got draconian rules in place, and it's like, why is she acting like Maine has 1.1 million people in the entire state, of which 90% live within 10 miles of the coast, right? So you have people like in Madawaska, with what, 30,000 people?
Yep.
And you saw the map. I had that Wuhan map. I need it for work to see what countries are being affected, and it has the U.S. And they were like, at one point there was 800 cases in Maine in the whole state of 1 million.
It's crazy.
But then on the flip side, now it's not to change the topic at all, but now it's also it's the same blue states that are now doing all these riots and no one's wearing masks there. And my wife just showed me a Facebook post on one of these like mom groups where someone said, hey, for all you working moms out there who may be protesting, don't forget to wear your masks, because I just saw a police report of someone who is going to who got arrested and was around 250 people, and he tested positive last week and wasn't wearing a mask.
Oh,
So I mean, it's just this is to me is just like I do think there's something there to the red and blue. But before we I don't want to change the topic. I want to hear LK what your plans are for the summer also.
Yeah, I will talk about it, but just not to politicize. But what's the from my understanding, the states are very independent, right? It's hard for the government like Trump to tell the states what to do unless he invokes like martial law or something like that.
Or he's asked, or they're requested. Right.
So it's not fair to say, oh, it's Trump's fault, because it's not as easy, as in other countries to make that happen. And I think that's the hypocrisy, right? The Democrats say, oh, that's Trump's not doing anything.
He's done it.
It's not that easy. Yeah.
What he did, LK, was the virus takes over, and they really overestimated everything, right? In all seriousness, I don't want to diminish it. My dad's 80 and he's susceptible, although he's like, something's going to get me, at this age. And he's just like, I don't understand. Like, I can self-quarantine till this is over and just not come in contact with people myself. But they shut down everything. My dad is a socialist. My dad is a Bernie guy. So he doesn't even understand it, which means to me there was a coordinated effort to test lockdown, to test house arrest people. I know that sounds dramatic and insane, but I can't help to think of it. And when Trump kind of turned the tables by saying, well, we'll have some federal stuff, but the states are going to decide. And when they all lined up, red and blue, then the people who wanted this to go forward said, well, okay, now what? Because now the states, they all lined up. So now you have the rioting. And now, of course, all those states and Massachusetts, thank God I'm in Florida. You guys should move here.
Mm-hmm. But we almost did. We actually almost moved to Hollywood. Hollywood was on our short list of if I could get my wife away from New Jersey, where she was born and raised. Hollywood, the Jewish community there is fantastic. I know a lot of people there. Yeah. That was on our short list of places to move.
Well, Adam, where I lived was originally, not settled, because that sounds like it was like an 18. But the Jews from New York came down to Florida and they bought not beach houses, but like winter houses, right? Yep. Small, like literally 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and those are still there. And they're now like these cute little houses near the Intercoastal. I'm about a mile, 2 miles from the beach, from the Intercoastal. So my house was built in 1960, and this whole area was very Jewish. And then in the 70s, I don't know why, but in the 70s, they all moved about a half a mile north of me into Emerald Hills.
Yep.
So you've got it's actually fantastic here, but it's all mob money.
Yeah.
My wife, okay. Quick side story. So my wife's my mother-in-law. She's been deceased now for about 10 years, but she was married 4 times. For a Catholic, that's a big no-no. But anyway, her third husband was a contractor that lived here in Hollywood. In fact, my wife grew up. Her high school years were spent literally a block away from where we are now, and we walked by her old house every day. But she recalls the guy never did any work. Always had a lot of friends. Spent a lot of time at the track, which we're near Calder Race Course, which was a big racetrack back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Even now it's more of those gambling centers, but they still have race horses.
Yep.
And we have a lot of Italians and Jewish people here in Hollywood, and they're still here, even though now it's more Latinized. But still, we still have a pretty strong Italian. At my church, everyone's either Latin or Italian. There's no Irish. There's no Irish. Everybody's name ends in a vowel. It's either an A, an O, or an I. So that's how we go. We go through the masses being remembered for the Spinolis. Oh, Italian. But the Espinosas, they're Latin. And you go right down the line. But that's why it was all. I think it was all tied up with with gambling, legal and illegal gambling. And you had a huge community here. They're still here, but now I don't know why they moved, but because it's still a pretty good neighborhood, but they're now about a half a mile north, and it's great.
But it's also like drug money, right? Back in the 80s as well, because like you go to Boca and see the big houses, the big houses in Boca. You look at the pictures, and you're like, yeah, this is a drug dealer's house. It's 80s style, all over the place, over the top. But it's cheap now because I think they got tired of the house and they moved on to the next one. So you get like this mansion-like house for like an affordable price, but you will have to remodel everything.
Right.
I'm laughing because we're going from like Jewish town to Jewish town in Florida right now. I mean,
Right.
and where I have family who used to live, where my friends live, where my family used to live.
And Ed, you live there, right? So
Yeah.
I think, and my in-laws live there now, and I bought properties there. And one thing that I see is like, I think the phenomenon started in Miami, and then people are like, "Oh, Miami's expensive. Next town over." And then that one became expensive. Next town over. And then you get to Hollywood, and then Fort Lauderdale. So they keep going north because things are so expensive, right?
Yeah.
So my in-laws live in Boynton Beach, which is not
expensive.
that it is, but it's not that bad. Like if you compare with Delray, which is the one south.
Oh, Delray.
Delray is expensive, like crazy expensive, and Boynton Beach will be the next one, and then the one after. It's a phenomenon that's amazing how like they keep going north. Yeah.
Well, what happened here too was 1992 was Hurricane Andrew, and that wiped out not really so much Broward County where I am, but everything in Miami and Dade County. And you literally, because I had just started working then, and I was just a new. No, actually, both my kids were born, so I was married already like 5 or 6 years. But your house is destroyed, and you took spray paint and you wrote down, State Farm policy number across your garage. And there would literally be adjusters that would be driving around, and they would see, oh, I'm okay, and they'd get out of their car and they'd write a check right then and there. So as a result, the a lot of those, it's very hard to get home insurance now in South Florida. Since then, there's now a government-backed or protected. I think we just got it because I just refinanced. I forgot the name of the insurance company, but anyway, they took those checks and they didn't rebuild there. They rebuilt here in Broward County, and then and they pushed out the Everglades too, which. When I was a kid, there was the place to go to concerts was in the middle of nowhere. It was literally a half an hour drive on a 2-lane road out into almost to the Everglades, edge of the Everglades. Now there are homes built all the way out there, and that place is gone. It's been knocked down.
Yep.
But yeah, we were thinking of moving. See, my wife works as a chief staff accountant for a company. So, and she's still, she's working from home now, but she's got no reduction in pay, and her company's actually doing kind of good, which is odd. But we were thinking of moving because I can live anywhere. I work remotely and I travel. So as long as I'm near an airport, I'm good.
Yep. Yeah, but why would you move out of Florida? I mean, like that's my target state.
No, we wanted to move. I wanted to move. It would be about 3 hours up the East Coast from where we are now. So Orlando is 3 hours, but up the middle of the state. This would be actually near Cape Canaveral, just maybe a half an hour south of Cape Canaveral. Property is cheap. Houses are gorgeous. You're near the beach. Taxes are nothing. My taxes in Hollywood are pretty high. I mean, not compared to New Jersey.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but in Florida, it's high. And we were very close to moving up there, and then we just backed out because she was gonna have to quit her job, and she wasn't ready to quit her job.
So hang on, I want to loop back to something. We were talking about it before, the quarantine. So, Ned, you were talking about how you have grown up kids who are you said your daughter's in Texas, and LK, I think your kids are a little older than mine. And correct me if I'm wrong, or if I can even say this. I think one of your kids might be from a previous relationship.
Mine?
Yeah. Is that correct? Am I making that up?
I have 2 stepdaughters. That's my wife's previous relationship.
Okay.
So I have one son. Yep.
So I think that each of us have different relationships with our families and whatnot going on right now. I feel like has been overcomplicated by quarantine. Like my brother is in Chicago, and we talk about the fact that we don't know when we're going to see him next. And for me, my in-laws are nearby, so my kids get to see them and do social distance with them, but not with my family. But my sister's nearby, etc. Whatever. It's all types of craziness. But I'm curious to hear how that's working with you guys. I mean, Ned, have you seen your kids or have plans to see your kids anytime soon? LK, have your stepkids, like, are they passing time at each parent?
So my wife's ex-husband lives nearby, and they have shared custody, so they go to his house like Thursday, Friday, and every other weekend, and that hasn't changed. But my in-laws usually come up here like every month or so, or every other month, but we haven't seen them for a while. I was going back to visit my family for Mother's Day, which I had to cancel because all flights got canceled. So I like that technology that at least I can see them. back in the day in 2004 when I moved here, all I had was like pictures and email, and now I have like FaceTime, you can do that on your phone, on your computer. So it's easier, for seeing and keeping in contact with your family, and even with my in-laws, right down in Florida. They see my kids, through the phone, and it's not the same, but at least, you keep in contact. But like, as far as socializing, no, like we barely leave the house.
But you guys are still under like lockdown? Are restaurants open? Bars open?
Here in Massachusetts, they started phase 1, but I'm not risking. Like, I personally will not risk.
Right.
I don't think it's worth.
We're in phase 2 now, and I am probably stricter. I mean, I am stricter than my wife and probably some others, just because to me the big issue is there's just so much unknown. Like, people, 1 week it's you don't need to wear masks, the next week it's you need to wear masks, and it's because just we have so little information from Wuhan that we just don't know what's going on, and we're learning as we're going. So for me, I'm just like, my oldest son has asthma, and I'm paranoid. I got that Jewish gene in me anyways. So I'm just like, is it worth it to just for a few months be a little cautious? But on the flip side, I also loved and went completely on board with Portnoy's rant, from a month ago or whenever it was, about how this was supposed to be 2 weeks and then, move on. Like I had said before this all started, the best thing that could have happened would have been for the entire country to just say, everyone's going to go inside for 2 weeks. That way we'll know who has it. They'll get treated. Everyone else won't. And then we can move on with our lives. But now it feels like there is something to that idea of why are we still, why are the goalposts keep moving?
All these protests and things will be a good measure, right? Because in 2-3 weeks, if we see a huge spike, we know this is serious. If nothing happens, fuck it. Then I'm going to live my life. But like this week's crucial because everyone they definitely are not observing social distancing. They're not using masks. They're not protecting themselves. So they are probably contaminating each other. So let's see in 2-3 weeks what happens.
No, totally. And like, I mean, I'm planning on, for example, on Father's Day, driving up to Boston for the day and just, seeing my parents, having a barbecue, and then coming back home that day. But like, when I went to my sister's and did that the other day, we talked about how awkward it was that, we were both a little strict on it. So my sister, for example, took a cup that we needed, put it down on the ground, and then I walked over and picked the cup up and brought it to our table because we were sitting at tables, 10 feet apart. And it's just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right.
Like, how long is this going to last?
No, it's. I don't think it's as contagious as they say it is. And Florida's been open now. What are we? June 1st. So May 1st, things started loosening up, but not officially, right? But then May 15th, restaurants could open for takeout. I should say for seating outside, which we can do, pretty easily. So, and then things pretty much opened up. What's today? Today's June 1st. So last Monday, maybe. Yeah. So Friday night, or I should say Memorial Day, Labor Day weekend, our downtown area opened up. In fact, they even closed off the streets to car traffic, to have foot traffic. And then all the bars and restaurants were open. And it was fantastic. It was weird going inside. If you wanted to go inside and sit, there was still like, you had to wear a mask except when you were drinking or eating, which I thought was stupid. So we just sat outside where you didn't have to.
What's your game plan? Are you willing to go back to like normal, or are you going to like try to stay at home and not?
I am. Well, I fly, so I have to wait. In fact, I was looking at flights even today, because I have to go to Atlanta a lot, or I have to go to Seattle. Our first flight out is at noon. I'm like, what? Come on,
If your company told you to fly today, would you do it?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
But how about let's say, but if you have to travel, are you gonna go out as you used to, or are you just gonna try to keep at the hotel and like not?
Oh, when I travel, you mean like when I'm traveling? Unless it was a business dinner, I pretty much would just either stay at the hotel or socialize in the bar, and that would be it.
So it's not like you used to go out anyway and do stuff.
No, it would depend on where I'm at. But yeah, if they would allow it, we'd probably go out. The thing is, now our customers are like, they're under restriction as well, which they think is ridiculous. So I used to go to Switzerland a lot, and China a lot actually. I won't be doing that much. But like the UK, France, Germany, and the Netherlands, especially Italy. But they're like, we might as well do it like, like this, they're now doing like, like I said, WebEx meetings and stuff and such.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I truly believe that business travel, I think travel and hospitality is going to take a very long time to come back. Like, I'm not buying any of those stocks or anything like that, because I think that business travel is never going to be the same as it was before. I think that just like people are going to be letting go of office space because they see that their company can run virtually, they're going to be, at a point where they just don't feel like they need to send people on business meetings, where they can just have the meetings remotely. And I don't see that going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I posted on LinkedIn the other day that companies will realize that they're spending so much money on real estate, and they see that people are producing, and the production numbers are not going down in terms of performance for each individual. So they're going to be questioning, should we be spending money on real estate, or should be reinvesting in the business? Right?
Well, that was a discussion 10 years ago with online shopping too. It's like, what's going to happen to the malls, right?
Yeah.
So the malls do attract a certain socioeconomic and cultural thing, because like the old folks down here, they're at the mall at like 9 o'clock waiting for it to be open with their sneakers on. They're going to go walk in the air conditioning, and they go up the but who
I miss the Aventura Mall so much.
That's the Aventura Mall, exactly. That's what I was thinking of.
So much.
I've not been to a mall in over, I think maybe not this past Christmas, the Christmas before.
Yeah.
So it's been, I do everything online, and not just Amazon, but just, I just shop online. You don't need to. Men hate shopping. Women love it, but men hate it.
So true. So true. All right.
So this summer, maybe I'm going to Maine once, my wife can get some time off, because I have a lot of time built up now. You
can also work remotely now. Like, I mean, what does it matter? If you're working remote, where does it matter where you are?
She went into the office today for the second time since being under lockdown. She went in for a couple of hours, but she has to go in, believe it or not, to pick up checks. Who the fuck writes checks anymore? But she has to go in to pick up checks. And
I work in real estate. I believe that.
Well, that's true. But the first 2 weeks of the month, she's closing. So I want, July 4th down here. I don't care what you think, LK. July 4th in Florida sucks.
I love it.
It's a million degrees. You can literally take the air and like wring out moisture from the air.
The best place to be on July 4th is Boston. No question about it. End of story.
Our house in Maine, every Thursday at night, I know Kirk hates fireworks, but 9 o'clock every Thursday night in Old Orchard Beach, they shoot off fireworks off the pier.
Is that where your house is? Old Orchard?
Yeah.
I used to go to Old Orchard with my summer camp. I used to love it. I think TJ Hubbard is trying to get a Minifan trip up to Old Orchard.
Got a house you can rent if you want.
Well, listen, I'm telling you that we're working on that.
That was I accidentally doxed my dad's address in Ocean Park, which is part of Old Orchard. Yep. And then he's like, yeah, we're gonna have an August a Minifan gathering in Ocean Park and Old Orchard Beach. And I'm like, oh shit.
I love it. But yeah, I mean, like, to me, there's just, the aspect of being able to just go back to that and just be able to just not care about where we're going and just not think twice about it. It's just, it's crazy to me what's becoming, like what my kids have to think about now, and the things they know and that they didn't used to.
Yeah.
All right. So like, let's light up the mood a little bit. Like, so what do you guys do to kind of disconnect from this fucked up reality? Like
this.
Yeah.
This. I mean, literally, I dive headfirst into the KMS world, and that's my escape. If I'm not working, or I'm not with my kids, or I'm not with, trying to be at least a mediocre husband to my wife, then I am, fully invested in just, diving headfirst into the KMS world as my escape. I mean, I've also been reading more than I have since I've had kids and ever.
Well, I'm ashamed to say, because I used to put away at least a book a week. Mm-hmm. And then once you got this thing, and once I got involved in Twitter, especially in this world, see that caller 2 days ago had a good point. It's like, I don't want to stay on Twitter anymore. Yeah, but I would lose connection with all you guys if I don't. Right.
Yep.
So what I'm trying to do is just go into into direct messaging or the groups and things like that, and stay off of the shit. I also cleaned out 300, and I'm still working on it. I'm only paring it down to, this world and maybe some sports stuff, and that's about it. Because I'm just sick of the infiltration. But since I've done that, I've read 2 books this week.
Yeah.
That's good.
A long time.
I got 2 recommendations from Steve that were just fantastic. Plus, I've gotten a couple of recommendations from Kirk that I'm working on. I'm not DMing him anymore. Just for the record.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you have any tips.
He follows you. I can't do that. He doesn't even follow me. Every once in a while, I check.
I did it on Discord, so it doesn't matter. I did it on Discord. He's not even on Discord anymore. But no, I am not just putting it out there. I am not DMing Kirk anymore.
Yeah,
I am not asking for parenting advice. I am raising my own kids. Damn it.
I'm disappointed, Adam, because I was gonna ask some tips, secondhand tips from Kirk. But I agree. I think a KMS is a great way, like to disconnect from reality. But KMS also has its own drama, right? So I try to filter out the good from the bad. And I got into editing videos. Like when I shoot El Fuego, I try to edit something before I send to Nick. And we've been doing some videos with the kids, and then I just started editing. So it's something to kill the time. There's something.
You have a talent for it. I love your videos. The El Fuego videos.
You like me suffer.
Yes, that's the best part. That's the best part. The part where at the end when you're always in pain.
Because I'll have the earbuds in, and she's like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'll just show you. Look, he just ate a really hot pepper. That's great. Okay, great.
Yeah. So that's the other thing, right? I'm expecting I can do like a El Fuego on the road, find a restaurant and just do that.
Well, South Carolina, if you do stop there, they've got really
the Reapers, right?
They got really
Carolina Reapers.
Yep.
Well, LK and I have talked about doing just shot for shot on the Tabasco whiskey.
Yep.
Oh, I never had that.
Yeah, no, it looks good. I mean, I don't find Tabasco that spicy, but on the flip side, it's whiskey and it's shots, and I'll take that.
No, I posted the other day, like to make fun of DJK. Like I have about like 4 or 5 bottles of very hot, spicy sauces.
Yep.
And there was a mini fan from Atlanta that also sent me some dried peppers. Mm-hmm. So I have like content for at least like 8 more episodes. If they let me post. My ass is gonna be on fire, but
I love that part. I love the part where you're just like your wife is just filming you walking out of the bathroom, which, by the way, just speaks volumes as to how awesome she is. That more than anything else.
The both times that she did it, she just picked up the camera and went like the second one. I didn't even see her because she was behind the door. Like she has fun also on seeing my ass getting.
They all do.
Fire.
But my wife is huge with she's a very tiny woman, but she eats a big breakfast, and every morning we have the same thing in the refrigerator. She must have 12 different hot sauces. Mm-hmm. And there's some that we make down here in Florida too, Gator hot sauce, which is really good. It tastes good too. It's not just really hot. But are you going to ever do like Indian spices? Because that's the hottest food. And I've been all over the world. What we think is hot, Indians are like, no problem. When you ask for like Indian hot, it's for me. I could not eat it.
Yeah, I want to.
I don't know what the spices are though.
So I've been researching places in Boston, like spicy food restaurants. Also, there's some here nearby. So once things go back to normal, I'll just go around and try some places. Because now what I want to do, I want to go through the scale, right? The Scoville scale.
Yeah. Right.
So I want to go up at least to 1 million SHU. So and then after I do that, and then I'll start just do a varieties of stuff and try to compare and contrast. But first, I'm gonna fucking burn my ass all the way to 1 million. Then I'll try to go have fun, But I'm not gonna spoil. I tried the sauce. I thought it was different from the ramen. So I think even there'll be differences from even supposedly hotter stuff won't have the same impact than less hot. So we'll see.
All right, guys. Let's wrap this up. But I'm gonna ask you all, I think, just one last question. Just everyone give their answer. Just let's wrap this up with that. What is the one thing that you'll look back at this quarantine and this time of 2020, whether it's the rioting stuff you do in quarantine, you're gonna look back at it and be like, you know what, this was actually an enjoyable thing, or this was something that I'm happy I got to do. Let's end on a positive note. We talked about the volatility of Twitter and the potential drama of this world. So let's end on a positive. What is the one thing over the past few months that you think down the line you'll look back on and we'll look back on with a positive view? LK, why don't you go first?
I'll go first. I think to me, the thing that I was very glad and fortunate was to go to Madawaska and meet all those crazy fans and just have a good time. I was going through a funk, before that. It was really rough for me. Like usually winters, I don't deal well with winters, and this one was particularly hard. And I had told my wife, like a week before my loss, like, hey, maybe I need to take a break from everything. I want to go back to my home country, just stay 3 months there. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, yeah, I'm just tired of everything here. I need a break from everything. And I said, I'm gonna just take my son and go. And that's how crazy I was, because I wasn't thinking of anything else. I was just like, how can you bring your son for 3 months without his mom? So that was the mental state I was in it. And I went to Madawaska. I have so much of a good time, and Ned was there, and he can attest to that. It's just like having people that have the same interest, and love for this podcast and for this world. And obviously, it didn't cure me, but I think it helped me look at the different reality and see that there are other things that I can do, to, help myself, and then get involved with this world. Even the good comes with the bad. But I'm very glad I went there. I met so many people, and I have like a lot of, like, if not friends, at least virtual friends, and that's what I'm glad from this year. If I could take this out of the whole year, I think it's a victory.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ned, what about you?
It's very selfish on my part, but I'm like on the 14th hole maybe of my career, but I need to work until I'm 70, so who knows, right? But I've been in a bit of a funk with work and my career, where I'm getting to that point where I got to be very careful about making changes. And one of the things I used to do was hop around. So I've been doing this same role now for like just 3 years in March. But when this all came down, everything started happening. In my specific job, in my specific company, I was the only one who knew what to do. And in the beginning, everyone was listening to me, and I was like the Obi-Wan Kenobi. I had all these like these young people, like even like levels above me too, calling me like, tell me how to do this and tell me what you think about that. And then I found that once I trained them all and got them all working understanding of it, they kind of took the ball and ran from it and left me behind. So I was kind of like, well, hang on, guys. I've sold $50 million worth of business, prepaid upfront, cash in the bank right now when we need it. And LK knows a little bit more than you, Adam, but I had someone in a different division call me and tell me and ask me who I was to confirm. And they said, do you realize that for the past 2 weeks, you individually have been responsible for over 10% of the daily revenue of our company?
Wow.
And I'm like, really?
Wow.
Yeah. Did you get any bonus out of that?
We were a $48.5 billion company last year.
Wow.
So this year
Did you get any bonus out of that?
No, are you kidding? We had to take a 20% pay cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah.
So my wife, like, since just at the third week of February, when we shut down, when trade between China and the US stopped, and then it just started escalating, I was going nonstop, 7 days a week. I want to say 4 or 5 hours a night of sleep a night, and loving every freaking minute of it. Now it's caught up. Now I'm taking naps in the middle of the day, but then it was like boom, 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 all over the world, on just cutting deals, getting, moving the PPE stuff is what I do. We were moving that stuff into the US.
All right, that's boring, Ned. Okay, Ned, go.
So that's
Wrap
what
it
I'm
up,
taking away from it. I had a great
Wrap it
time.
up.
So for me, I'm gonna go a little cheesy here. So I love working from home. I have done it for the past, almost 10 years. I've worked from home every Friday, just in general, just for Sabbath purposes, etc. Obviously, it's different working from home now, but for me, I've been on a schedule of getting to work super early before everyone else does, and then leaving at like 4:30, coming home, having real time with the kids and with my wife, and then going back onto work later. For me, I've been happy with the fact that I haven't set an alarm in months. I wake up every morning and I see my kids, and they see me, and it's not always rainbows and butterflies, both in the kids and in the spousal relationship world. But on the flip side, it's been really nice to just be around everyone and to not have to be in the office every day. And again, there are times when I've gone to my office at night for either because I needed to access the network for something, or I just needed to, just get some work done and take that break. And, there's certainly a level of needing to just have that space. But on the flip side, I really enjoyed the fact that I can work from home. I can have access to my family. It's just,
guys, our good things out of this year is so depressing that maybe we should just let's say that the worst thing of this year.
This is the good thing of the year.
Christ.
I found.
Yeah, I agree.
I found a new bottle of.
But to be honest, we're
really
lucky that
it's really great.
Blessed.
You're outside the whole time.
Absolutely.
So you guys, I felt bad for you guys with little kids, and you were housebound because we at least got out every single day, and we could do kind of whatever we wanted. We just couldn't go out to bars or restaurants like we normally do. So it wasn't horrible,
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree.
All right. Let's wrap it up. That's it. So goodbye. Hope all is well. See you next time.
Shalom.